The following podcast contains adult language and possibly sexual conversation that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. I guess that means anyone who likes ice cream, it's bedtime. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the podcast or its affiliates. The content discussed is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice. These are professional retards, not psychiatrists for your fucked up sensibility or mental illness. Please consult a qualified expert for any specific concerns or questions. Thank you for listening, and if you are one of my precious little snowflakes, go get some minty chip and some of that good-smelling kids' shampoo. We aren't wanted here with these men.
Voice. There we go. Hey boys, how the hell is it going? This is Real Men Talk Shit, and we have Jake from New Medicine on with us this week. Obviously no Ippo this week, it seems, because he's disappeared again. But me and Jake have been talking on and off about doing this for almost a year now. What was that, like July?
Whenever,
Middle
maybe,
of July, something like that?
or was it August? Yeah, or middle of July or August.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that was when I met you. Yeah.
Yeah, we met at Music Fest in, what was that, Bethlehem, PA?
Bethlehem, PA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where I took pictures for every single one of the fans that asked.
Oh
for
yeah,
it.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an absolute
Big line up
blast.
at the merch. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And you nicely took all the pictures, and then you said, "Would you do my podcast?" And I said, "Well, I think I owe it to you at least for all that shit you just
Oh,
did."
you don't owe me anything, man. It's just nice to meet people that give a fuck. That's all that matters. But
Yeah, man.
no, I thought your music was absolutely awesome. It was funny because name recognition wise, it didn't click automatically. But I heard your music. My wife was showing it to me probably like 6 months to a year beforehand. And all of a sudden, once what the fuck is that song? Fuck It came on, and all of a sudden it clicked. And then
Yeah,
the song right after that, I was like, I know these guys. I know these
Yeah.
guys from somewhere. And then it clicked, and I was like, oh wow. You know what? I'm gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna go meet them. I actually handed her
awesome.
both of the CDs. I was like, yeah, this is. She's like, I didn't get to meet them. Why? I was like, well, here.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah,
That was
it
a
was
fun show too, man. That was really good. Yeah, that's what we're finding that a lot nowadays. That like our music is spread like wildfire on the internet, and so then once people start seeing like, oh, that's the guy that sings that. I know that song. People like I know will be like, oh, I've listened to your music for years. I had a close friend of my wife's really close friend. Her husband was like, "What's your band called again?" I said, "New Medicine."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, cool, man, I'll check it out." And then like this is a few years ago now, but then he was like, "Dude, I already had Fire Up the Night saved on my
Yeah.
phone. I already know you guys." I'm like, "Oh, cool, man, thanks."
Yeah, it's really weird because I get weird tangential things like that too. I actually got one of those the other day, because I'm a producer for one of the larger podcasts in the world named Painkiller already. Has
Yeah.
Woody's Gamertag and FBS Russia as the host and stuff. So sometimes I'll just make a joke about that, and they'll be like, "Wait, do you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my job." They're like,
Yeah.
"Wait, are you serious?" Because nobody's ever seen me. It's just
Right, exactly. You're behind the scenes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just hilarious how some people just all of a sudden they're like, "Oh wait, that's you." Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's me.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it's good with me. I mean, like it's a trade-off for my independence as an artist to not have a record label and a manager and all that shit to like, yeah, of course, if I wanted to be on the radio and be in everyone's face, but I'm like, it's not that I don't want to be on the radio if any radio station wants to play me, but I'm not going to sell my soul out for it anymore. I already did that once and I didn't like it. And so I'm cool that I'm like, people are finding our music organically. And then like I find that the fans that we make, we're not going to lose them. Our fans are like with us, you know. And once they figure it out, like they're like, okay, cool, these guys are legit, because we don't make any decisions based on any other person besides ourselves and our fans. You know what I mean? That's kind of just how it is.
That's always the interesting thing, and I think music kind of falls fault to it too. Is people end up changing up their design because of something in the industry pushing them that way. Whether you see like this weird techno thing or trap and hip hop or stuff like that. Or
Right.
even in YouTube, everybody kind of switching to Minecraft and then other games and then other games. It's really interesting when bands and stuff like yours really don't switch up very much other than when you look at the stuff when you were with the record label and then now. There's a
Right.
complete distinction in between the two, but you don't change up very often.
Yeah, no, and I think it's just more like not even that it's. I don't even know if that it's about change. It's just more about like we're not chasing anything that they're telling us to chase. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, because a lot of times a record label or something is going, hey, well, this worked over here for someone else. Like, we should do something like that. You know what I mean? Versus like our band has evolved. I think there's a difference between
Yeah.
evolving and completely changing, and then like or just trying to do something for the wrong reasons that aren't authentic. And I think more than not, in a lot of cases with a record label, like they might push something on a band or an artist that might truly not be authentic to that artist, and there's some resistance from the artist. It even happened to us on a few songs on our early first stuff that I remember being like, I'm not so sure about this, you know what I mean? Like, and then that shines through. Those songs weren't very successful, but the songs that I felt like, this is me, I'm putting this out, those are the ones that have been really, really successful. And so for me, you should naturally evolve as an artist and try to do different things and be better, but just do them on your own free will, and by make sure it's always authentic to yourself. You're not just doing something to chase something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a very, very unique way to stay genuine to yourself, whether it's saying fuck or talking as a person or trying to sell yourself as an individual or a band.
Right.
If you continually change and evolve with what the hell's going on, then how does your fans genuinely have that aspect of, well, this is who they're always going to be? Yeah, you have to
Right.
evolve slightly. You have to change slightly, but sitting there
Right.
changing from rap to country, how many fans are you going to maintain doing that and genre
Right.
changing every 20 minutes?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Or just, yeah, like I said, just chasing the latest Sonic thing. That's like, oh, everyone's using these sounds now, or everyone's using it. It's like, I like to just try to just keep exploring in my own way. So yeah, I feel very blessed that we have this, huge audience now without a record label, which is awesome, because that just makes, I feel like the power is all in my hands now to go like, hey, I'm going to make the art I really want to make. And whoever wants to listen to it, you're more than welcome to it. And if you don't, that's all good. But fortunately, we found a lot of people that want to listen to it. And it's kind of like me going with my gut, which is what I always think I should have always done, you know what I mean? Even when on a label and stuff, but like you get people to try to convince you to do something you don't want to, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's kind of what happens. But
Well, they sweeten the deal and sweeten the deal and sweeten the deal. And then everybody looks at you like, yeah, why aren't you doing this? And it's just like, man, you don't get it.
right, exactly. Yeah. People don't understand. Yeah, I'm very happy with where we're at, and where I'm at personally with it and everything. So yeah, it's no hard feelings. And I have a ton of friends that have record deals and are on a record label still. And as a producer, songwriter, I work with a lot of people that are on record
Yeah.
deals. And there's good people in the industry as well. They're not all hacks, but just for me and for what I want to accomplish and what I think is best for my band, I think it's just, we don't really need it at this moment. You know what I mean? And I'm just finding new ways to connect with people on my own terms, I guess.
With larger artists right now that are actually going that whole free to produce route and doing it themselves and everything else, you have larger people like Tom McDonald and Dax and stuff like that in the rap and hip hop genre. Do you guys look at them and say, hey, well, they're setting the stage, they're showing us exactly how to do this and proceed and move forward, and there's kind of a path now for people that are unsigned to be able to accomplish this and kind of push it forward?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super familiar with those two artists, but I mean, I would look back as far as like, there's a band from Minneapolis called Atmosphere. That's that a hip hop act that owned their own record label like 10 years ago. Or
Yeah.
Macklemore. I remember when
Yeah,
Macklemore came,
exactly.
Chance the Rapper, and like, I guess I saw that and just thought, well, I guess you still, but I mean, those guys they blew up, like they went huge. And so I was like, wow, that's cool that they did it themselves, but like, I don't know how to do that myself or whatever. And it seemed like they were still massive. Right. And I'm like, the chances of that happening are always going to be like, that's like, one in a million. Those are crazy. But what I will say now in this environment, you can be somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? You don't have to be Macklemore, but you can be where New Medicine is. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, we're above a lot of people that are on record labels. Are we a household name like Nickelback or something like that? No, not yet. But we're also like, hey, there's a middle ground now. There's a way to go. Like, you can make a really good living in the middle here. We don't have to be like gazillionaires playing stadiums. We're like, hey, we're getting, almost, 7,
You're,
8, 10 million streams a month. I mean, that's crazy.
that right there is mind blowing. You know what I'm saying? Whether you have a record deal or not, there's some people that have record deals that
Exactly.
do nothing and sell
Exactly. I've
nothing.
seen so many, and I've been a songwriter here, and like I live in Nashville, and my day job a lot of times is I write songs for a publishing company, and so like I write songs for other artists, And so many times I've had like a major label sign an artist. I write a song with them, and they're like, "We're gonna throw the phone book at we're just gonna like go all in on this song," and then like nothing happens. You know what I mean? And then they get
Hmm.
dropped. You know, and then you're
Yeah.
like, "There you go." Like you guys, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think for me it's like I'm trying to be on the forefront, and I've taken things I've learned along the way. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to be on the forefront of like telling artists like, it doesn't always have to be feast or famine, right? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't always have to be like, oh dude, if I'm not a millionaire, then I'm failing. It's like, could you want to make thousands of like even if you're making thousands of dollars making music for a living out of your house, like dude, right now I'm in my upstairs bonus room. This is where
Yeah,
I make a lot of
exactly.
records right here. And look, yeah, we've had a lot of success, but I'm just saying there's like levels, and like it doesn't always have to like compare yourself to a Macklemore or like the Drake or something like that. It's like and there's always an opportunity to upgrade to that. You know what I mean? If things go so crazy, like I'll never say like, oh, I'll never sign a record deal
It's
again.
one
Like
clip. That's all it
yeah,
is now. Is you get that one clip that just takes off on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, whatever, or that sound as far as music goes, and all of a sudden, then you're one of the largest household names there is. It's
right.
not complicated. It's more luck now than what it was before.
Yeah, well, it's definitely more accessible. So that's the thing. So
Hmm.
I guess the thing I would preach to people is that like you get a laptop, you get a microphone, you get Logic, whatever. You can start making records at your house. You have an iPhone, turn it around, make some videos, make some content for it, be creative, and try to find an audience. And there's probably an audience out there. You know what I mean? And again, like I said, we have a song called "Take Me Away" that in the last like it's not even been a year. It's not even out a year, and it's got about 15 million streams already.
Yeah,
It's like the fastest growing song we've had. Now it's like it's also on the precipice of like it went viral on TikTok, then it was on Spotify, and now actually recently on Instagram Reels. Like so many people are making reels of it. There's like 20,000 videos of people making reels of it, and so it's having a resurgence there too. And so like yeah, you can just have a song that just like finds a life of its own if you just make art and find the people that want to hear it. And at some point it just like I said, I'm not there's not it's out of my hands to find those people. Those people are making those videos, and then that person sees
exactly.
they see their friends Instagram, and then they go, wow, what's that song? And then they go, I want to make a video with that song. It just spreads and spreads and
And
spreads.
it's the most genuine connection and growth as well. Like you could have growth that you pay for, and you could get numerous fucking hits on Facebook or YouTube just paying for ad placement. It's rather cheap, but at the same time, how many of those people are going to stay? You could pay $100
Right.
a year every month, every single song you release, and that
Sorry. One
it's all good.
second, dude.
Yep,
I don't know. Sorry, dude.
it's all good, man. You could
I
pay
thought
$10.
my phone was off.
You could pay $10 every single week on an ad and get thousands and thousands of hits. That does not mean anybody watched it, anybody clicked it, anybody went through and listened to it, and
Right.
literally, it's useless. Finding that growth organically is so much more genuine and so much more available, and it sticks so much fucking more.
Right. Yeah, I mean, um, yeah, I think it's just about finding your own people. You know what I mean? It's like, and I like I said, I will go back to saying like, look, I don't need to win every single fan in America over. You know what I mean? I just need to find the ones that want to hear what I have to say. You know what I mean? And like, and sometimes some people are like, yeah, I'm not feeling this. I love your old stuff or something. I'm like, okay, great. Then go listen to our old stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
It's still
and
there.
yeah, it's still there, man. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna rewrite the same song again, So like, I'm writing this, and then I'm like, I'm also like, I think it's funny because most of the time when people say stuff like that, it's like the song that I'm promoting or whatever the new thing is like like lately the last thing I've done has been the biggest thing I've ever done. We've
Exactly.
been growing and growing and growing, and so I'm like, man, I can't listen to that kind of stuff because I'm like, look at my numbers, dude.
You
Like,
stagnate me.
yeah, exactly. The song that you're thinking that, like, I'm like, that's back there. I'm over here, already over here, And I
Well,
remember
that's
we actually,
also 4 or 5 months behind too, because you have that
right?
delay of creation and everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be your most recent song that you released, but you're 4 or 5 songs ahead now.
Right.
You,
Right.
you're
Exactly.
ready.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and then they'll be like, there's always like people that'll say like, oh man, like this one doesn't have enough guitar in it, and whatever. And then I'll be like, then I'll do one with like a ton of guitars, and then I'm like, where are you guys now? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I just did a song with a ton, and I'm just like, it's for me, it's not about like one sonic thing or another because I think that like for me, and this is just me personally, this is just what new medicine I think stands for, and like what the way I want to make music, which is just like I'm always just trying to like find new ways of saying stuff and new ways of presenting music and sounds and stuff. And sometimes I go back to, sometimes I feel like, yeah, this is the best way to have this message come across, is with a guitar, or is it not with a guitar, or like whatever, like and is there electrics, or is there acoustic, or is there keyboards, is there synths, or like, and so to me it's not like I don't want to do the same thing on every song where you'll like, you know, when we were younger, like it's just like, okay, bass, drums, guitars, vocals, okay, next, do it again.
These things are guaranteed. Just sit there and repeat over and over, change it slightly.
Over, and then when you're in the studio, even, you're like, okay, like let's do this part. Okay, now get the bass out. Now do this. And it's just like, I was like, I like to just switch it up, you know? So anyways, it's funny to hear people have their opinions, but I try to just do what I want, you know?
When you go back and look at some of your discography and you look at some of the songs that you liked, oh, I love doing this song, can't do this again. Or I want to do something similar to this, change it again. Have you ever gone back and looked at it and said, hey, I wish that I released this today instead of then?
Interesting question. I don't know. I guess one of the things I think about now is just, and I guess that's still not impossible, but I think about Fire Up the Night and how it's like basically a gold single. It's about 75 million streams, so it's about to be a gold single. And I'm like, man, I wish if I was ever gonna have a song at radio, I'm like, I know that would be a guaranteed. It is a hit. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah.
So sometimes I just wish some of my songs that have done really, really well now would have gotten the light of day back then. But it's okay, because I'm like, they're still getting listened to a ton and everything. But I guess a song that came out back then, I don't know. I mean, I think they all kind of feel like maybe like age appropriate for me a little bit. But there's some songs that like I do think about revisiting, or there's songs that are like not released that you probably haven't even heard. Obviously, you haven't heard because they're not out yet. But I have this song called "My Bed" that I wrote back when we were just touring a ton. And I basically wrote it about like, dude, I just miss my bed. Like I've been gone for so long. I've just not slept.
Just homesick. Just homesick stories. You glitched for a second. I was trying to let your words come through.
Yeah. Just being homesick. Exactly. Like being on the road for so long. And I don't know. And I remember the head of the label was like, this sounds like a hit or whatever. And I was like, I just didn't make, I don't know why I didn't make the record. It was like acoustic, and there's like, oh, it's too like light or something, like it's acoustic song. And like, I don't know why I didn't make the record. And then we just didn't put it on the next one. And I'm like, it's just sitting there. And I'm like, that's a great song, man. Like I really loved it. It came from an honest place. And I was like, I was being vulnerable to say like, yeah, I'm like this badass rocker guy, party on, whatever. But I'm like, hey man, it's like, I've been gone for so long. I haven't been home forever. And like the one thing when you sleep in a freaking van or a bus or a Holiday Inn for 3 or 4 years straight, you really cherish coming home to your own bed, your own sheets, your own house, your own little cocoon, your own, like my TV. I would have my Xbox and like just go, hey, I'm just gonna go sit here in my little lair,
and that's what I think is like the most genuine thing about doing things like this and reach out and like connecting not only with fans but other creators and kind of trying to expand audience, is you can show yourself as a human being, not just the person up there that says fuck it. And
exactly.
That as a whole changes the entire dichotomy of the entire thing.
Yeah, and I think for the longest time when I started doing it, it was like a defense mechanism to say like, I just want to be mysterious and no one can know what I actually am doing, and just like I'll just put the music out. And then now I'm like, I really enjoy just being able to be myself and be vulnerable and say like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is, I'm not,
Exactly.
And like people getting a sense of like, hey, if I support this guy, this is who I'm supporting. You know what I mean? Like if I go buy a ticket, like it's Jake, it's Dan, it's Matt, these guys, like I'm supporting these guys. Like, if I buy a shirt, like it's supporting Jake, and I know Jake, he's a good dude. Like I've seen him on there. He's been vulnerable. He's talked about what he likes and what he, you know what I mean? And I want people to know that like someone like you just can come up to me and say, what's up? Like I'm here to connect. And
exactly.
That's it. So,
and like, there's that older guard, the generation before us that are like, well, don't meet your heroes. Don't meet the people that are above you, because not only are they never going to meet your expectations, they're never going to be the person that you want them to be.
Right.
To me, I never wanted to be that. Even as I grow anything, like my DMs are open on everything. Like, I don't care.
Right.
You want to know what mattered the most? Not even any of the people being like, hey, I watched your show. You want to know what mattered? The people saying, hey, you saved me. Hey, you calmed me down. I don't care. I got one of those messages. That's why I started the show to begin with, was
Right.
just being able to have that outreach.
Right. 100%. Yeah. It's like, I don't care. I feel the same way. I'm like, I don't really care if a million people listen to it or, 10 million people listen to it. To me, it's just about like, man, I remember buying a record when I was a kid, and it felt like it saved my life to hear some of those songs and something like a Nirvana song, whatever the record was of the time. I mean, there was a lot of different records, right? Like,
Yeah.
if I heard a song and just go like, oh my God, I needed to hear that so bad, or like it just helped me escape from whatever I was in. Like, I would just walk around school with my Walkman, like my headphones on.
Exactly.
Like, don't talk to me. I'm in my own world. And like that saved me, And so I think about that when I make music now and just think like, if there's 10 people out there that like go, wow, this music saved me, and I'm like in my own world,
Exactly.
like, then like it's worth it to me. You know what
Like
I mean?
I remember sitting in my room playing Dave Mirra Pro BMX2 on fucking PS2, sitting there blaring fucking Cleaning Out My Closet by Eminem.
Yeah,
And then
totally.
like total reverse of that, attempting suicide to Nowhere by Jordan Sparks. Like completely opposite, but like at the same time, that music makes you feel something.
Totally.
When you're writing music, do you expect the people to feel what you're feeling as you write it or as you're trying to tell that story, or are you trying to make them feel something different?
That's a good question. I guess I'm not trying. I mean, I guess I'm just usually just trying to express something that I feel and hope that someone else can relate to it. Like if
Yeah,
I put out something there that's vulnerable and honest, the chances of it being received by someone else, like the chances that I'm not the only person in the world that has this unique feeling,
exactly.
it's high. Now, if I try to make up some fucking story about something that's not true that I'm just trying to write, like I find a lot of music in general, like there's a lot of bullshit music where I just listen to it and go like, what are you even talking about, dude? Like, and I'm not trying to dog on it. I won't even say any specific artist. It doesn't even,
Yeah,
I can't even name a specific artist, but like even in rock and stuff, it is all about like, the devil, I don't know, just lyrically, just like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Really? Like, what are you really talking about? Like, it sounds like you're rhyming words that sound cool, buzzwords like bones and, and I'm like, say something, man. Like, say something that makes me feel like, wow, like even when Corey Taylor says, like, I push my fingers into my eyes, I'm like, damn, I feel something when he says that. I'm
yeah,
like, I'm like, I can just feel that. I don't know why, like, and so I'm like always trying to search for moments that feel real and vulnerable and stuff. And it goes from a song like Fuck It to a song like Take Me Away. Like on Fuck It, I was just literally like, man, like some days you get down about life, and
hmm,
sometimes and it's like, dude, life is short, and like don't let something bring you down. Fuck it, man. Like it's just
yeah,
that's how
exactly.
I was feeling. I wrote that during the pandemic because I was just like, my friend came down to Nashville and would stay with me for a few days, and uh we were just like, I had this that riff or whatever, and I just started saying, like, we were just talking about like life and just being like, it's so heavy, and it's like, hey man, we're only gonna get one time here, man. So like if something is like not right in your life and it's like not serving you or like whatever, then fuck it, man. So there's like that, and that came from a real place. And then just as much as Take Me Away did, which was just about really like struggling with anxiety and depression myself, and thinking that like, you know success on the outside, I would say this, like as soon as like, my whole life I would chase after success, right? Because you're just like, I just want to be, successful in life. Like I
Hmm.
wanted my music and my career to blow up and everything. And it's like, and then I hit a point where I was like, okay, you are having some success now,
Yeah,
but it's like for some reason there's still a hole or whatever. And you're like, wait, what? Now I did that. Now what? And like that just drove me nuts. And then it's just like constant comparison of going like, well, yeah, you have this success, but you don't have,
I can't reach
whatever.
higher than that yet.
Yeah, you don't have this artist success. You're not playing stadiums. You're not doing this. You don't have 100 million streams of one song. Whatever it is, like you don't have a billion
Yeah,
streams, and you still. So, anyways, like Take Me Away. That's a song that just came from like complete. Like I would just sit up at night just thinking, like overthinking stuff, and just thinking like, is this all gonna go away? Is this like, am I not as good as this person? Like, what? I don't know. There's just so many things in my head, and then I think a lot of people related to it because they felt, um, the same way, you know?
No, absolutely. That's why I was wondering because like I think a lot of people try and write for getting a certain message or getting a certain feeling or whatever when the real story or the real thing that they're feeling or trying to express is completely gone because they're trying to target something so heavily. Like
Right. Yeah.
I end every single episode most of the time. Obviously this one's a shorter one because you have time limits and stuff like that. But I try and end the podcast with like a 10-15 minute story from my life because I've
Right.
had a fucked up fucking life.
Yeah.
I have a doc with 120 stories that I can read off of the top of the list just reading the title and telling you what it is.
Right.
And they range from absolutely fucking hilarious, dumb, stupid bullshit to being like abused and dealing with that or attempting suicide. And just all of it being wrapped up in a ball of fucked up.
Yeah.
But also, those things can absolutely make somebody relate, which at
Right.
some point it helps somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I guess yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I'm like I know that was long-winded, but that's just kind of like
It
I'm
is what it
just
is. It's a conversation, man. It don't
yeah,
matter.
just but just yeah, I'm like sometimes I'm like writing and just thinking like of capturing a feeling that like I've had before and just kind of like putting it down in a way or like just like singing out an emotion like Fire Up the Night was just about like that like fire of like between like an ex or something, you know what I mean? Like just like it's not like verbatim what exactly happened, but like you can fill in the blanks
Yeah,
and stuff and
exactly.
like it's that idea of like hey, we maybe shouldn't be doing this, but like we definitely both want to be doing this, and like yeah,
Exactly. It
we're
just
doing
is what
this.
it is.
And those things happen, and it's like being able to like verbalize that kind of stuff and like find a way to sing that emotion. Like I think my biggest gift I've had is like as a musician and songwriter is just like this ability to like I try to like find a way to like sing an emotion, right? Like I
Yeah.
try to
A
off
replicatable emotion.
off of
It's
my heart. Like I don't like sit there and like um I don't sit there and like overthink it. Like I just like pick up a guitar, start playing, and then like the first thing I start singing, like what is my subconscious thinking? Or
yeah,
like someone
exactly.
will say something like, "Hey, what if you wrote a song called this?" And I'm like, "Huh, what do I think of when I think of that?" And then like I don't think too hard about it. I just start singing, and like for some reason, like this, my heart and my head are just working together with all this, and it's just like things just come out, and like even like as early as our song "Race You to the Bottom." I wrote that we were like drinking one night the night before, and like me and our bass player Matt, we were like drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels and like watching a cowboy movie, and we kept saying like, "All right, if this some guy shoots this person, then like we'll drink. Okay, we'll drink
Yeah.
if somebody shoots a gun." And we're like, "Okay, we're drunk." Anyways, we kept saying "Race you to the bottom, race you to the bottom," and then like the next day, I just like picked up the guitar and just sang like "Race you to the motherfucking bottom," and it was like, where the hell did that come from? I don't
Yeah.
even know. Like I just said it, and it was like
No,
I was like is that it? Is that something? And everyone's like, that's awesome. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do that. Like,
I have the same thing. Whatchamacallit? I was working with a TEDx coach because he got me a TEDx offer
oh, nice.
for my suicide attempt.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you tried to roll out of a fucking window at 4. You were
Damn.
thinking suicidal thoughts at 4. Just
Yeah.
just say what the fuck you need to say. Like it's not overly complicated. You know the story. You dealt with it.
Yeah.
Just say
Right.
it.
Right.
He's like, honestly, 99% of people with TED Talk would sign off on this with just the title, saying, well, I woke up and I was 4 and I realized the window looked fun.
Right.
And those OCD thoughts of just being able to cycle around a sentence, a topic, a thought is so surreal when some people don't deal with that at all. It's weird
Right.
hearing somebody else be like, oh, well, I do this all the time. Well, this happened. And everybody's like, yes. It's so
Right.
interesting to hear that click on some people. And some people are like, why the fuck do you do that?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think when it comes to music and stuff, like, even people, even other guys in the band, like I write a lot of the music because that's just something that like I
Yeah.
do. I'm like a natural that like just it just comes out of me. I don't know why, but that's the one thing that I'm like I have a good connection with what's going on in my head and my heart, I think, and able to like get things out and say it in a way that feels believable because it's coming from somewhere in my subconscious, I guess. And then like over the years, like it's like anything else, it's like a muscle that you work, right? Like
Hmm.
I work on words every single day, and so like I'm always writing, and so like it starts to come faster to me, and then my head, my subconscious is full of like these just like ideas or lines. Like I write lines down all the time that I think, oh, that's cool. Like if you
Yeah,
look to my phone, I have thousands of voice notes, and then I have thousands of like little notes of like a
that
couple sentences, a couple words, and I'm like, I don't even know when I'll use that, but
that's exactly how I started that list of stories. Was okay. How can I go through my life in a sequential order to be able to give a story with enough detail in order to last 10 minutes? Okay, how
right.
many of these can I do? And then I come up with 100 of them off the top of my head, just ADHD. Well, then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and it just falls. It's so fucking weird. And
Yeah.
you see that growth even with larger sequences of things, starting with something like One Step Closer from Linkin Park, and then
Yeah.
at the end, when Chester's getting ready to commit suicide, you have songs like Heavy come out, and you can
Right.
see his bouts of depression come and in the roller coaster of what he's dealing with and
Right.
struggling and dealing with those bouts over and over. You can see the flow of how his mind worked and how his OCD kind of held him. And you can see the songs that he wrote and you can see the songs that he didn't write, and how those kind of flowed together. It's so interesting looking at things like that as a whole. Or Eminem, you can see his bouts of pharmaceutical use and stuff like that, and when it stopped and when he had to change because it wasn't there. It's just
Right.
it's such a weird thing, the uniqueness of this affects this, and then all of a sudden I'm okay to do this, and it's such a weird story.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you say it like that, that actually gives me, yeah, makes me think of like if I step back, like 50,000 foot view of my career and my art, new medicine, the songs and stuff. Like, yeah, for sure. Like, I would not write "Race to the Bottom" now. I'm 34, and like I'm just like that's not where the headspace I'm at now. But like I could only have written it then. You know what I mean? Like, but the same way, like I would have never been like vulnerable and wrote a song like "Take Me Away" about my mental health because I think that's something that I started realizing later on. Like I just at that young age, you're just kind of like going through life and like at that point, like I got a record deal when I was 19, and like life
Life
was a
lives you.
yeah, and it was like, and life was a party, and it just exactly life lived me. It was like it told me where I just did,
Hmm.
and so there, like when I think about that, yeah. But I think that that's why you have to just write what's authentic to you right now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that'll be interesting. You know what I mean? And I think it's like whenever you hear like an artist that's like an older artist try to sound young, they don't sound young. You know what I mean? Like it's like, dude, right? Something that feels like you. Like that's why I always admired Tom Petty. I just felt like he always just kind of changed with his times, and like he was such a great songwriter. All like he had one of his biggest records in the 1990s in 1993 when Wildflowers came out, and like that was one of his biggest records.
Yeah.
And like he was like 40, you know what I mean? Like he had already had like American Girl and Free Fall, like all that. It's already been he's like way beyond, and then he makes the best record he's ever made because he never stopped trying to write better songs and be better and be authentic to like what does he do? You know what I mean?
And you see even the backlash with it, with people like Eminem, with Kamikaze, and the music to be murdered by side A and side B, where everybody's like, this isn't you. Oh, you're
Yeah,
back. Oh, it's like, no, he was recovery. He's
right,
trying to go back and be the same guy that he was when he was on drugs to sell
right,
more
right,
again. Like
right.
it's such a weird dichotomy of people trying to do that, or oh, go find this version of you again. No, that version's gone. Those
Yeah,
feelings are
exactly.
gone.
So do you feel that like when you listen? Because I'm a huge Eminem fan as well. And what's your perspective? Because my perspective personally is that like yeah, like I loved the early stuff. It was just so wild, and I was like never heard anything like it. Blew my fucking mind. Listened to it religiously up
Exactly.
until I don't even know like what record I would say. Like it also it was like okay, and then I definitely have cooled off. Like I don't like listen to his new stuff as much as I like. It doesn't
Yeah.
inspire me as much as also. But what's your perspective on that?
So to me, I kind of started falling away with the fun music of Eminem
Yeah,
around Relapse.
yeah,
Like there's fun music in Relapse, there's fun music in Encore, but I also like the very, very meaningful stuff from Encore. And then
yeah,
he repeats that again in Recovery. To
yeah.
me, as I know this is an L take for most people, Recovery is his best album.
You love that album.
Yeah, I will listen to it front to back, regardless of what it is.
I'm
I
trying to remember all the songs on all these.
So like you have Not Afraid, and
Oh
obviously
yeah,
these are the bigger named songs and stuff like that. But then you have the more in-depth songs like Spacebound, where he's talking about relationship abuse and how he's fucking just falling for somebody and he can't fucking stop it. Like there's more
oh yeah.
in-depth shit
Recovery
there.
got a bunch of songs on the yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those CDs that you can pick up and it's okay whatever song plays.
Right.
But there's a lot of songs that you will skip to listen to that song at that second because it fits.
Right.
It's one of those weird CDs that just kind of flows like that, and it's so interesting to see that. And then, oh, I'm not going to do that again.
Right.
I get it, you changed, but at the same time, you went backwards.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more like you said. Like I felt like sometimes I'm like, oh, there. Everyone was probably saying like, go back and do what you had early on because that was like the best, the dopest shit. Like everyone still listens to that stuff, and then it was like you're trying, but now you're trying to imitate yourself, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And I definitely noticed that. But that's no like, I mean, I'm like he's one of the greatest artists of all time, and so that's just me being hypercritical of someone that I'm
No,
a massive fan of. You know what I mean?
I am too, and it's interesting to look at things in that depth of where does this go? Why
Yeah,
did this change?
that's coming. That's coming as fans. You know, that's
Yeah.
coming from a person that's a fan, and just saying that, like, dude, brilliant guy and amazing music. But yeah, there's something about like, and I mean, I don't know if you watched those documentaries with Dr. Dre and how he just said like, man, I played him that beat, and the first thing he said was,
Yeah.
"Hi, my name." I'm like, oh my god, that's magic, dude. And so yeah. Anyways, that's an interesting perspective, but I'm sure people have a perspective on my band too, and like, so I have sympathy for him because you just kind of got to do what you got to do at your point. But I will say this, like, I definitely have tried to recreate early stuff or something that like, oh, does people want to hear Race to the Bottom again? Like, okay, well, like, how what would that sound like? And then I've tried, and then I didn't even put it out because I couldn't even tell you a song. I'm just saying, like, I've definitely like attempted, and then I just go like, this
The
doesn't
feelings
feel
are
right.
gone. The
I'm like,
feel
this doesn't feel like right. You know what I mean?
like I remember one of the first guests that I ended up having on the show was my wife. Because
Yep.
me and my wife are best friends. Like regardless of what happens tomorrow, regardless of what happens 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
Me and her can sit at our kitchen table and talk for hours about everything. And it just
Right.
goes and goes and goes. And that to me
Yep.
is one of the most amazing fucking things in the world. There is no connection like that. And it's
Right.
one of the weirdest things. But I can't go back and make that same episode because it's just not the same.
Right.
It's just not like I could tell the same stories, but it's going to end up slightly different. It's going to end up with different emotion in it. And that conversation that happened after we found out that, my mom was sitting there trying to call my daughter off a playground. That conversation is so emotional and so impactful in that feeling in that second, regardless of what actually happened. You cannot recreate that. You cannot recreate that anger, that frustration, that fear when that's not actively happening in front of you.
Right.
It's such a weird layered thing when people do try and go back to recreate something. It's not the same.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You guys. That's why I always try to like stay present, and then just and look forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because yeah, you spend too much time looking backwards, and it's like life is too short, and it's like you can reminisce on good times and stuff, but for the most part, I just try to be present now and just like what do I learn from the past, and like how can I take that into right now and going forward, you know?
So
So
I didn't know this when we actually talked, and I was going through and trying to come up with some questions and stuff to kind of just have talking points and stuff.
mhm.
Uh, as the band grew, did it make it more beneficial to have Dan next to you since you guys grew up together? You could be more vulnerable. You could be more open about what you were thinking or feeling because you had somebody you grew up with that was your right hand at that point. You guys grew a business and a company and a band together. As you guys changed from one band to New Medicine and you guys grew, did that make it easier to grow and explore your thought and your mind more?
Yeah, I mean, having someone that like just having another person that has been a huge supporter and believer in me. Like Dan was just always a big supporter. Like whatever I was doing, he was just like, dude, he believed that I like in what my songwriting and my voice, and like was just like, I want to help this thing happen. And I mean, and obviously he wants to, he has his own legacy as well, but like
Yeah, exactly.
he definitely was like a huge believer in what I was doing and gave me the autonomy to be like, dude, let's go. And that I love what you're doing and I want to go that way with you. And I'm going to stand next to you and like, let's go. I got your back. And yeah, it's just, it makes it more special to like, recently we've been working on a lot of new music and music videos together, because Dan is a great actor and a great director and stuff. And so like he's brought this whole new element into our band now with directing and coming up with music video concepts and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely beneficial to like have some kind of continuity. And like, to be honest, like the shows, we're going to announce some more shows here coming up for this summer. And like the lineup you saw us with last year, those are the same. Like Matt, I went to high school with Matt too.
Yeah.
Our bass player Brady. He's I was a fan of his band growing up. You know what I mean? And Ryan Guan's our drummer. Like those four will be out there this summer, and it's like that's the same band from 2008. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same dudes. And like I have slept, in the same twin bed as those guys. You know what I mean? For years.
Yeah, exactly.
Go do everything together. And it's really, really sweet to now share this moment of success. And like, I got to have that call last year and just say like, dudes, like I got us some shows, like we're going to play with Disturbed. And like, there's like 8,000 people there. It's like, just to be able to do that with your best friends, it's so much more special, because I've definitely gotten to in the last 4 or 5 years, like I have my own solo music. I go under Jake Rose. That's my solo stuff. And I've gotten to play some massive shows, but with musicians that are kind of more hired people that I've said, like, hey, here's my stuff. Would you play this? And they're perfect. They play perfectly, like amazing. That's kind of how that world works more. And it's not the same, because it's like, you guys don't know me that well. Like now when I'm with my boys, my high school boys, like we like chase.
I don't have to hand them the music.
No, I don't. They know it. And we wrote it together. We did it together. And like, we played it a million times together. And then here we are. Like that makes it so much more special to like, they're here because like they're proud of what we did, and they're proud of all the stuff we did. So yeah, it's very special. And everyone always asks about the whole band and like, oh, is Dan there? Is Brady? And it's like the answer I give to people is basically like, this is like a family. Yeah. Like our producer Kevin Kadish, like I've written a lot of songs with him for New Medicine. Like a lot of the New Medicine, Take Me Away, Rich Kids, the new song Past the Past that we just put out. So many of the stuff, and he made our second album with us, Fire Up the Night, all those stuff. And he's like a fifth member of the band. I mean, I'm like, he's not in the band, but like he plays a guitar in the studio with us. Like he comes up with parts, he comes up with keyboard parts. Like there's like my best friend from high school that you probably never even heard except in the liner notes, my friend Carl. Yeah. Just literally like one of my best friends. And I was always like, he loved writing words and I loved writing songs. It was like, oh, cool. And we wrote Fire Up the Night together, dude. We wrote Fuck It together. And I go back, like, he's part of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a big family of, like, I guess the DNA starts with me and my voice and my songs and stuff. But, I love having all these collaborators. And I always have been a loyal person and just been like, man, everybody, and if Brady can't make this one show or, then, like, and there's somebody there filling in for a show or whatever, it's like, it's not, oh, they're out forever. It's like, dude, no, he's just busy. He lives in Amsterdam and he's not here this week, but he's always in the band. He's never not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, you even saw it when I met you and Dan and everybody at the show. You're like, Dan, we're going on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Not even question, not even can we do this? We're doing this, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that I love that camaraderie. I love that brotherhood of like just growing with somebody. And it's so weird because I wish that I had those connections in high school or at that point. I had a kid then. So I'm such a weird situation in that. Those times to grow with somebody is so interesting because it's such a unique friendship as you grow. You go to college, you do a business, whatever it is. That connection is so much stronger than most people give it credit for.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's like, definitely we have this thing on like that we can just kind of like that we've kind of like, it's kept us together, because there's probably times that we would have just been like, hey, I'm pissed off at you, or like,
Yeah.
it's not always easy, right? And it's like, but we've had
No.
this thing that's like kind of kept us to go like, hey, we got to check back in on the baby, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of our baby, right? And there's definitely been there was years there where we kind of like, we're like, hey, we're sick of this for right now, like we're gonna go do something else for a little bit, and we did. But now we've come back, and it's been so good, and we share this thing together, and yeah, it's really exciting, and it's special, and like, I am really glad I did. It worked out the way it worked out. It worked out just like it's supposed to, and yeah, I really do cherish it more than I ever thought I would, because it's special when you just like start in your hometown at your high school together, and then you go as far as we did, and still be doing it, and be relevant is amazing. So
With being on tour with some of the largest bands in your industry, Avenged Sevenfold, Disturbed, did you meet your expectations, or are you past them now?
my expectations for myself,
Yeah, for you guys as a whole, did you guys meet where you guys wanted to be, or are you guys past it?
I think the number one thing, like, I mean, of course, everybody has sky high. I mean, you don't do this if you don't have sky high dreams. But I think the number one goal for me was to make a living making music.
Yeah,
That was number one, and I definitely have done that. And so, like, everything else feels like kind of like cake.
secondary.
It's kind of cake. It's like, yeah, did we get a record deal? Yep, check. Like, there were so many like dreams that I could say like, yep, we did that. The number one always though was, can I make a living doing music?
Yeah,
And I would say this, even when we had a record deal, dude, I was still living in poverty, dude. Like, it was like I was like still working jobs on the side, because they took all of our money. It's like, it's crazy. People think how the business works. Like, you get a record deal and you just have all this money. I'm like, no, not unless you have a hit. And it took us a while, and we didn't, and we had managers and agents and people. So it's funny, because like, I did have a bunch of my dreams
and you
come
feel
true.
better now.
I was like, dude, I'm playing arenas, but I'm like, yeah, but I'm broke. I'm like, oh, I got a record deal, but I'm like, yeah, but like, I can't pay my rent. Like, this
Yeah,
sucks. And so like, it was like actually a couple of years after the band, when I really started having success as a songwriter, and then like the band started blowing up again, and then like I had some cuts and hits as a songwriter and producer, and it was like, oh my gosh, I can like make a really good living now, making music. So that was like this strange, like, well, I mean, I felt like, wow, I felt like a rock star opening up for Avenged Sevenfold and playing for 20,000 people. But when I got home, I didn't. You know what I mean? I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm living with my parents still. Like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe this weird dichotomy. But now, it's kind of the best of both worlds. But yeah, we still have dreams and like goals and stuff that I want to accomplish. You know what I mean? But like, I will definitely say, like, I remember when the band took a hiatus. I remember thinking, look, we've played arenas, we got a record deal, we had a hit song on the radio, we had a major record deal. We worked in the studio with legends, producers and mixers and stuff. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Like, if I never get to do this again, we had a really great freaking run. And I
at
think
this point,
it was
I'm
better than
okay.
any that he could have ever, you know what I mean? Like, what else could you expect? And then now, 5 years later, you go like, oh shit, I didn't see this part
That
coming. Where
that
we, yeah, you know?
that excitement is something that I feel every couple days. It's the weirdest fucking level of excitement. It's like, oh, somebody I watched my entire childhood just messaged me to work with them. What the
Right.
fuck is my life?
Right.
It's
Exactly.
so, and I hate saying that sentence because it sounds so autistic of like, oh, I'm excited about what the fuck's going on. But like, there is weird shit that I've been offered to do that it's like, well, that would have been really fucking. The fact that I got offered that is one of the
Right.
coolest fucking things in the world.
Yeah, and I think that's a lesson to learn in life, of just leave room for the unknown kind of thing. Like, leave a little spot there, just because something might just fucking
Yeah.
happen. You know, what I mean, you just never know, and don't rule anything out. You know, don't
Oh,
rule anything out. And I had to tell a young artist this recently, who, this girl, doesn't matter what her name is, but she's an artist that was signed to a record deal, and then they're trying to hold her to her contract, and she's just like, I don't even know, like, I just almost want to be done with this crap. Like, I don't even know if I want to make music anymore. And I was like, hey, I know it seems like you're locked into some contract forever. But like contracts do end,
Yep.
and you can get out of them, and then you can write the next chapter yourself. Because I'm living proof of that. Of going like I had 2 record deals. Like we got dropped, and then we got signed again, and then we got dropped again, and then like 4 years go by, and then now, you know what I mean? Like here we are now, all these years later, and I'm like, I never would have thought like, hey, dude, at 34, that's when you're really gonna blow up. You know what I mean? Like, or 32, whatever we really started. These last 4 or 5 years have been crazy, but like specifically the last 2 to 3 years, like 2019, 2020. Ever since then, it's just been like this, like rocket ship. And I would have never thought like at 20. I remember we got dropped, and I was like 24, and I just thought, dude, my career's over, man. Like I'm 24, I'm washed up.
Yeah.
I'm a loser, dude. You know, like I'm gonna be too old by the time I get to this. You know what I mean? Like I'll be 25 next year. Like they're not gonna want to sign a 25-year-old, and that's just so far beyond the truth. And like you have so much value still. And to me, like at 34, I'm like, man, I know how to run a studio now. I know how to write way better songs. I know how to play my instruments way better than I was when I was that age, and like write way better songs. And so like, yeah, you got to give yourself that grace and leave room for the next chapter.
It's such a weird dichotomy. And like I always strive for, okay, I want as many people in my hometown, I want impressions this week
Right.
or this month. And
Yeah.
when I broke that for the first time, I shit myself.
Right.
And then I had Woods from Call of Duty Black Ops on, the voice actor.
Yep.
And now I'm working on a project with him for a Pokemon Let's Play. He's going to voice one of the characters because I have this
Oh,
cool
that's
idea.
awesome.
And that as a whole is interesting because it's like you're working with people and kind of doing things that you grew up playing and hearing their voice and everything else. It's just weird how those kind of intersect and affect each other because those things are completely surreal.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And it's just, I've been surprised so many times in my life. And sometimes I'm just kind of like, I'm not going to say that not going to happen because I don't know. Maybe something will happen, or the things that you don't think is going to happen does, or, you know what I mean? You got to leave room for that.
Yeah.
And, you know, who knows what the next chapter will be, you know, who knows?
There's so many people that ask me, oh, well, how do you do this? How do you get the people on that you get on? Or how do you do this or that? It's like I put my balls on the table and I say it.
Right. Exactly.
That is 90% of the problem. You want to do this? Ask.
Exactly. Exactly. And I would say that for music, people will wonder and say, like, how do you break into the industry and whatever? And I'm like, dude, it is not, first of all, it's not, and you'll recognize this as well in your position. It doesn't end at like the first try. You know what I mean? Like you try, you ask, and then, yeah, even if you get one guest this week, it's like, you got to go back to the table next week and you do it again. It doesn't just start, you know, and for in music, everyone asks like, how do you break it? And I'm like, dude, you just have to like it has to be in your heart, like to just like never give up, because it takes so much perseverance and stuff. And I'm always telling
it for
people,
the
like,
right reasons.
yeah,
It
and
can't
I
just be
always
the bag.
exactly. And I'm like, you got to do it because you love doing it. And I'm like, and by the way, just do it. Like, write the songs, record the songs, put the songs out on the internet, and then go play the songs live. That's the game. That's it. Start, you know, making fans one by one. That's it. That's the game. It's a wrap. You don't need a record label. You don't need it. You just need a, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's that simple. Just do. Don't talk about it. Just start doing it, you know? How do you become a songwriter? You write a song, you know, like you just figure it out, you know, and
well,
and
so many people don't want to do the work. That's the problem.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, I have this talent to sing. Okay, number one, have you ever heard yourself? Or do you just sing in the car? Do you take the time to actually do the steps and kind of figure it out and work it out and game plan it?
yeah.
There's this big thing that kind of hits YouTubers and Twitch streamers and stuff like that. And you're the other half of it, which is kind of the interesting part, which is why I wanted to ask you. I know you said about an hour and a half. So at any point now, just say you want to go and we'll wrap it up.
No worries. Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that's about where we're at any point.
That's all good. Okay, cool.
But copyright is a weird thing for YouTubers and stuff like that because we want to use the best fucking music you possibly can, which sounds obnoxious and aggressive, but you also want to make good content and
totally
produce the best thing you possibly can. But right now, as things go, when Content ID flags a video for more than, I think it's 15 seconds consecutively of somebody else's content, all of the revenue goes to the person that created that content.
Right.
Are you for that, against that? Do you want to talk about it? Like, it just seems interesting coming from an artist. How does that affect you? Does that make you feel negative towards the people using that content? Like, how does that all work?
No, I don't. I really don't mind it. I mean, I want our music to be. I mean, I want to be paid fairly for if my music is like, making someone else money, I guess. But
Yeah.
be compensated for my part of it. But I don't think it should be 100%, I guess. But I will say this, like in a lot of cases, like my songs,
Yeah.
I have a publishing deal, so like I don't even like I own part of them, but I don't own all of them because people
Yeah.
have paid me. That's how I make a living, is by selling some of the rights
Oh,
to my music.
absolutely.
So, a lot of times it's like an old song that I'm like, well, I own a part of that, but like I have to like have the approval of this company that like Sony. Like I work with Sony on my back catalog, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like so, Sony Music Publishing owns it, and it's like they're like, no, this Twitch streamer can't use it for free or whatever. And I'm like, I would have just said yes. I don't really give a fuck, but it's not up to me. And so sometimes people ask me, and I'm like, honestly, do it. If someone catches you, then sorry, but if you can get away
Yeah.
with it, I don't really care. Yeah, it's an interesting. I think the internet is the Wild West. I mean, I have my own feelings on it. Like, I won't even go into like that side of it. I guess I would say
Yeah.
this: we probably all share a common struggle of like, intellectual property that like your personality, you
Yeah.
doing something like whatever if you have a show on Twitch or whatever, like that's your intellectual property. And I'm like a songwriter, and I will see people use our songs in like videos all the time. Like for instance, like on Instagram, right? Like if a song, so like Take Me Away,
Yeah.
our song has like 20,000 reels of it. And there's a couple that have like, there's this one reel that has 12 million views.
Yeah.
But I don't get paid as a songwriter.
But they're monetized.
Right. I don't get paid by the views though. I get paid by the video, and it's like nothing. It's like
Yeah.
0.000 whatever, 1 cent, not even a cent for you. If you make a video, one use exactly per use. And so it's like, okay, so maybe I've made 20,000 cents, but not 20,000 cents, but 20,000 portions of a cent. You know what I mean? So it's like, how much have I really made off of it's like, but then one of the videos has 12 million, one has 180,000, one has 2 million. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's like Instagram, everyone's making money off of my music besides me. You know what I mean? That's a bummer. And I'm sure that you guys feel that same way sometimes on the YouTube or Twitch or something where you go like, wow.
The weird thing is if say I played your music as the intro.
Yep.
And I have gaming music because I'm a nerd.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even having you on, it does not give me carte blanche unless I ask and you give me written consent to use it.
Right. Right.
That monetized video 100% goes to you, even though it could be a 15-second clip, 20-second clip. I've got 2 hours worth of content that is completely irrelevant, and it's given to one person. And that's not fair either.
That's definitely not fair. I don't support that at all. I don't think that's the way it should work either. And I think there should be something reasonable, and they shouldn't have to make all these micro licenses, because here's what it is for me. My publisher or like my attorney or whatever, if they have to like write up a contract for every time someone wants to use a Twitch stream, it's like I would go broke paying the attorneys, because my attorney would charge me $500 to make a contract, and then I'm like, cool, here's the deal, and then it's like it gets played 10,000 times, whatever it is, even if it gets 100 views or something, and then you go like, wow, I just spent $500 for someone to use my
100
song.
views.
100 views, and you go, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna go broke doing this if the internet. But I think there should be a simpler way to say like, hey,
just a marketplace.
Right, exactly.
Give people a way to say, okay, if I use this song for one video or one stream or whatever, I pay $1, pay $2.
Right.
Whatever nominal fee makes sense to both people, make it make sense. Make it so that way it's auto-linked and everything. But the unavailability of music and giving that completely to radio stations that are dying out is also asinine too.
That's absolutely asinine. I mean, I'm not a huge, I don't listen to the radio, and as much as like I can recognize that it would help my band a lot if they played us on the radio, like I'm just not playing that game right now. You know what I mean?
No.
And unless they just want to do it for the right reasons, but if they want me to pay to play, I'm not doing it. But yeah, I agree. And look, I would say this openly that like I'm a supporter of like people listening to my music. I've always just wanted that. Like I believe that we should be paid fairly for our content, but like I want more people to hear my music. So if some kid wants to play Call of Duty and have Fire Up the Night in the background, I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Like I love having a
Exactly.
soundtrack. I love being part of the soundtrack of your life. Like that's a fucking awesome for me. Like,
Exactly.
and like I have bands and shit, even some of my own music. Sometimes myself, I go like, man, I'm like on a run right now. Like this song is like gonna kill it for me.
Yeah.
Like, so I totally get it, man, and I fully support it. And actually, there's a thing called Nightcore where people like speed your songs up and like use it in video games. There's a huge resurgence of that with our music in Japan. And like, I'm like, I thought that was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, people are like remixing our songs. And like at the time, I don't know if we were just like our label wasn't catching it or whatever, but people were making all these things. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, I don't even mind. Like, you know what I mean?
To touch on something similar to that, I was scrolling through YouTube and people are now doing voice AI for songs. And
Yeah.
I saw a whole bunch of Kanye songs sung by Joe Biden and Donald Trump, the
Yeah,
Jay-Z
they're
and Kanye album.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
So
Fucking
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
AI,
just,
that's the next thing.
it's just at what point does it go from being yours to mine, or is it both of ours at that point, or is it theirs? It's such a weird conversation to have, and I don't even think the people at the top on either side know, because everybody feels like they're entitled to it. Everybody
Yeah,
does.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like there should be like a reasonable thing. Like, I would never think, like, for me, like, in just a reasonable discussion, going like, oh, you have a YouTube channel and you have all these listeners and all this stuff that's already generating this and doing all this. And then, like, you just want to use my song. Like, well, what's a reasonable, like, amount of revenue for that one time you use it, that one little
Exactly.
spot? Like, that's just, what is that? And why can't it shouldn't be that hard. There should be an algorithm that could compute that and say, like, cool.
Oh,
Well,
you're 0.2%. Here's 2
yeah,
cents. Like that makes
exactly.
sense per play.
Let's just for a round number. Let's just say like a stupid round number. Like you have an hour long podcast and you average making $100 and whatever those, you know what I mean. And you decide, you know, you're gonna play 1 minute of a New Medicine song. You know what I mean? Like for part of your hour. Like, well, it's like, well, then that should be able to just compute. Okay, give New Medicine $1. They played for one. What, you know what I'm saying? Like, just compute
100.
it out.
It's not.
So,
It's not complicated.
one
It
of
should be an
100.
algorithm.
Right. They played it for X amount of period of the thing, and that's how much it earned. So there you go. You know what I mean? Should be easy. Now, if you're sitting there and like your whole entire podcast is just playing our music, you know what I
And
mean? Like,
breaking
well,
it
then
down.
then you just
Makes
keep playing
sense.
song after song after song. Well, then yeah, maybe you should pay them a little bit more than 10. You know what I mean? So I think it should be an easy thing for, especially with AI and algorithms and computing, that like they should be able to just go, okay, how much is this normally making and how much are they using of that song? And so that's how much they get, you know?
And it's weird when you go from copyright to DCMA and there's no line. They can flag it as whatever one we just don't want this one up anymore.
Right.
And it's like, where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
Where did I step wrong? Was it 17 seconds? Is that the fault? Is that the problem? Like, and there's just no transparency on YouTube's part. There's no transparency on the record label part. And it's like, if there was that direct communication between the person and I think those things would be so much easier to figure out.
Yeah. And like, I've had my own music taken off my own social media. So it's like, trust me, like it doesn't make any
I'm the person, you fucking retard.
I've had to say to them,
I am.
I use a distribution company, like not a label, but I just like, they just make sure everything's, you know, aggregated.
It sends out to everybody.
Yeah. And it's just like a little more personal. So it's not just like, anyways, but they watch over my stuff and like something got flagged on my Instagram, like, hey, you're using content that's like copyrighted. And I was like, yeah, by me. Like it's my shit. Like what? And they had to like tell them. And even when you're like a record label or distribution company, like YouTube still doesn't want to talk to you. I had it, dude, this week, Take Me Away got taken off of the audio was not available on Instagram for some reason. I don't know what. And I was like, what happened? Like I had a video with 180,000 views of me singing it. And then it says no audio now. And I was like, what? I used the audio and I was like, and so I had to like go in. And so it needs to be fixed. And I think that's definitely an issue. And I will say this, of all the random like requests I've gotten through our website or something,
Yeah.
it's so many of them, dude, are, hey man, I'm a Twitch streamer. Could I use your music? And I'm always like, dude, I don't care. You have my permission, but like, it's like, I don't know who owns
Is
that song.
Sony gonna care?
Right, exactly.
Is
Whatever
UMG
label,
gonna care? Yeah.
whoever owns that song, if it's an old song. Now in my newer stuff, I definitely have way more autonomy, and I can just say like, yeah, you can use that shit. Let's go,
Exactly.
But I want to make it. I agree with you, man. Like I think there should be an easier way for you to just like send a request, and it should just be like, yep, easy, approved. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
or
No.
not
Maybe
even
so.
have to. Just say, cool. Do you want to use Jake's song? Fuck it. It's
Yeah.
gonna be 10 cents for a minute. Oh, cool. I'm in. I'll pay 10 cents.
Exactly. Like it would be so much more straightforward, so much more usable. And like you go from having people using the same exact fucking vlog intros or vlog exits on every channel to everybody actually having a personality and showing themselves and stuff like that. I'm sorry, Gangster Guy 67 is not going to have Wii music playing behind his vlog. It doesn't make sense.
Right. Exactly.
It
Yeah.
just
Exactly.
doesn't. Why
No, it
not
doesn't.
allow people to showcase their own personality? And it's like,
Yeah. And then some of these companies also don't want to. It's like Google always will say like, oh, we can't pay anything out. Like, yeah, right, dude. You know what I mean? Like they say that about songwriters. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we can only pay X amount of money for millions of streams, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but you guys are all get $40 million a year salaries. Okay, you know.
yeah, exactly. Oh, I get $1 per thousand. Fuck you. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
You get $15 for this $1 you give me. That's fucking horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just always there. Yeah. So, anyways, um,
So obviously, you have a very, very unique sound with New Medicine. It's obviously inspired by a few people that I can pick out. But who were your inspirations to how you wanted things to sound?
I mean, I
Obviously,
think
you curated it over years and years and years and
yeah,
changed up. But
yeah. I actually I saw this thing that Pharrell said the other day. And he's like, man, you can't edit what you were exposed to. Like you just were exposed
yeah,
to what you were exposed to, and so like, um, early on, I would say that would be like Nirvana was like the one when once I heard Nirvana and I was like, you know, I was not. Kurt Cobain was already dead when I found them. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like this is probably like I'm probably like 13, 14. Like it's probably like 2001 or two or something. I don't know. But I discovered Nirvana, and I don't know what it was about Kurt Cobain and like that. But I just thought like I want to make my own songs. Like I want to write stuff because like I just thought his songs were so interesting and so powerful. And that was like an early on, just like general, like, hey, I want to start a band. I want to
mm-hmm.
write my own songs. That was the person that I just was like obsessed with. Um, but over the years, I think there's been tons of different influences from anywhere from like Eminem. Eminem was always like very shocking, was always very
yeah,
like lyrically like, whoa, did he say that?
yeah.
And his flow, all that stuff was tough and like had an edge. I was always attracted to that. Like I was always like, that's cool. Like I like that. It kind of made me
Where
feel like,
there's
whoa, did you say
not
that?
only do you have that feeling, you have the 3 or 4 different meanings in a sentence, or 3 or 4 different stories that are going on in a CD, and
Totally.
that like different flow. You also see Linkin Park as an outsider. You can see the similarities and how those people flow
Oh,
together.
oh yeah. And like yeah, Linkin Park was a huge one. I always gravitated towards like things that like everybody could sing and like feel like together, like, oh my gosh, I'm connected. Like, yeah, Linkin Park. I mean, they were like so raw, but also so commercial and big. And then like just yeah, always attracted to like raw energy of like a Slipknot or something like that, where I was just like, wow, this just makes me want to go crazy or whatever. But like the Queens of the Stone Age, I would say Josh Holmes guitar playing, he's very like punctual, like he's very like rhythmic and because he's a drummer too and I'm a
Yeah.
drummer. That's my first instrument is drums. So the way I play guitar is very like staccato and like like
Yeah.
very like pronounced and like rhythmic, and it's like my right hand's like a hi-hat or something, whatever. And so there, Queens of the Stone Age, when No One Knows came out,
I love that song. Yep.
I was like, man, this is like just I love that guitar style. So you start adding that in again, and then there was like 9 Inch Nails, and I thought, oh my god, Trent Reznor's a fucking genius. Like this guy is so cool. He mixes like he doesn't use synths and stuff as a crutch. He uses this as a tool. Like, oh my god, I've never heard sounds like that. Like that's so cool. Mixing electronic with real sounds and like so seamlessly. So that was he's actually a big influence that maybe not everyone would hear, but like I love 9 Inch Nails. And just the use of like other sounds, right? You know what I mean? Like that was a big influence, but like, yeah, and then Eminem lyrically, you know what I mean? Melodically, the energy of Nirvana. I would still say like Tom Petty was storytelling. I just always loved his storytelling. And just the simplicity, like he would never like overstate stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like 4 lines, but like, why do I feel this way? He only said like 4 lines, but like I know exactly what he's talking about. That is like the thing in songwriting that I'm always trying to achieve. You know what I mean? Like, why do you feel something with so little, right? Like you're like, wow, like he hardly said anything, but like, and I feel like that, like, you know, in like a song like Take Me Away or something like that, like there's not a lot of lines before the chorus, and the chorus is very simple, but like it was like cut the fat off of it, and you know what I mean, and then that's your song. But anyways, those are some of my like huge influences, like off the top of my head. You know what I mean? I loved Radiohead, I loved Linkin Park, Eminem. Yeah, it depends on the year what CDs I'd be. Red Hot Chili Peppers, I love Red Hot Chili Peppers. You know,
and it's interesting. Because like in 9th grade, you know, you take that dumbass fucking test where they're like, well, what job should you have? And it kind of dictates your entire ideology of how school is going to be. And funnily enough, the one that I got was audio production. I don't know how the hell that was on the test, but the one that they're like, this is what you should do. And it's like, I have neck surgery, and that's what I fall into.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
How the fuck did this happen?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I grew up, my dad was a guitar player, and he had a cover band, and they played Leonard Skinner and like Allman Brothers and Led Zeppelin and like classic rock, Bob Seger, and like kind of these song forward bands though and everything. But I just grew up around music, and I don't know what it was. Like, just something was just like, you're supposed to do this. Like, I just never thought about anything else. Like, when I was 12 or 13, dude, I was like, this is what I'm doing. And I was dead fucking serious. Like, I was like, I didn't even care. Like, I was just like, and I think it takes this mentality, man. Like, I didn't care at all. I was like, if I never make any money ever in my life, in my career, like, I don't care. I just want to be making music every day. And like, that's what I want to do. So when going back to that question you asked me earlier, like, you know, have I met my expectations? And I'm like, yeah, actually I have, because that's what I wanted to do. I always just wanted to be able to make music for a living. And that's what I do now. And so that's kind of amazing.
With growing up with a cover band dad, does what No Resolve is doing, is that interesting to you? With all the covers and everything that they're releasing, and they're actually growing, which is kind of surprising for a cover band to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar. I've heard a little bit about that, but I guess I thought like when I was younger, like I thought my dad would play like Sweet Home Alabama or something like in their set, and I was like, oh, my dad wrote that. He plays that. I was so young. I was like 4 or 5 years old, you know. And then I realized, oh, he didn't write that. Like he's just playing that someone else's song. And then I just thought, well, I want to be the person that writes the song. You know what I mean? Like I want to write my own versions. You know what I mean? So I was just drawn to that. And my dad has written some songs as well, but like, I think it's just like, again, like you said before, like I just had supportive parents that said like, hey, if you want to do that, just go do it. Go write your own stuff and go try it, you know? But I don't have any problem with cover bands, I guess. I actually find it interesting when someone covers a song in a new way. Like I guess with TikTok and Reels and stuff, Instagram Reels and stuff, you'll hear an old song, like a new version. Like I think I heard a Billy Joel song like this last year that like went viral, but it was some like girl singing a new version of it. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. But I was like, that's a Billy Joel song, but like it was such a different version of it. But I'm like, it still hits. I was like, man, like this is great. You know?
I've heard a female version of In the End, which is like really, really slowed down on TikTok. I think most people would know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
And then the No Resolve stuff is super, super interesting. It's like they've released Disney songs, a song from my childhood, The Thunder Rolls, as
Yeah.
like a
Really,
harder
Garth
rock.
Brooks?
Yeah, a hard rock
Nice,
version
dude.
of that. Like it just, it's interesting to see something that most people don't respect in a cover band. Most people
Right.
kind of, that's the local band that just comes and plays some of the music that everybody loves.
Yeah.
And people are now getting recognized for it. And that's such a transparent, also with the copyright thing. It's interesting to see where that line is. Did they change it enough for it to be just theirs, or is it both of theirs?
Well, yeah. So like I can even explain that how that works. Like, so if you have a recording of a song, there's the master side and then
Yep.
there's the publishing side. So like, yeah, like if they make a new recording, that's fine. You know, like there's been songs in history that have been hits for multiple people. Like I Will Always Love You, Dolly Parton has a version,
Yeah.
but Dolly Parton still
Owns
has the
part.
songwriting royalties of
Yep.
that. You know, exactly. Which so that's fine. And I think that's like I don't know. It's interesting to me. Like, I think the knock that cover bands get is valid because so many cover bands in your local hometown they don't try that hard and they're not
They're
that
just
good.
learning.
Yeah, so you're kind of like, well, this is kind of like a shittier version of Billy
Yeah.
Joel, right? Now, when you have like a great musician do a different version of Billy Joel, I'm just using that as an example because
Yeah.
that someone there's another it was a TikTok thing of some girls singing "Slow down, you're doing fine, numbing anything to every," and I was like, that's such a
Exactly.
iconic line, and then
It's the shit you want to hear on July 4th as you're watching the fireworks just start, and then you want
totally,
them to go off as soon as they start because you
yeah,
don't want music. You want to hear the fireworks at that point. But that's
yeah,
the only time that it's like, yeah, I want to go see the cover band.
right,
Is on
exactly,
July 4th, and it's weird to see these. They're growing at a different rate than what they used, or maybe it's just me being so hyper focused on growth now. But it's weird the availability of some of the things that for a while weren't.
Well, I think there's a lot of stuff happening. Like content is so abundant now. I mean, there's obviously just so much content everywhere. Everybody has like what I said. Everyone's got an iPhone. Everyone's making their own videos. Everyone's making their own songs. So you're just seeing a lot more. And then in general, you know what I mean. There's just more content in general, and then not everybody can write their own songs that are any good. And if they have, to be honest, like one of my first earliest producers was like, if you can't write a song, you better be able to write a hit song. You better be able to pick a hit song or like hear one.
Or
You know
read
what I
it.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because like some of the biggest artists ever and of all time like didn't write their own music. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you have
and
those accusations everywhere. You have ghostwriter. Oh, Drake has a ghostwriter. This person has a ghostwriter. And it's like,
right, but I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying in general, like they recognize, hey, I'm not a great songwriter, but
yeah.
I'm a great vehicle for songs.
Oh,
So like, let me go
exactly.
find someone like Jake that's all he does is like try to write great songs, and I'll be the vehicle for that song. So it's like some of the biggest songs ever by artists that you think like, oh, that's their song, and it's like, well, they didn't actually write that. Actually, some guy like in Nashville or
What?
wherever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. What song was it by Rihanna that came out of that one CD? Like 2009. I think it might have been S&M, but I'm not positive. It was meant for like somebody like Lady Gaga or Katy Perry, and
yeah,
it stuck to Rihanna. And now that's her song, and it's just like
right, exactly, yeah,
it's so weird watching those things because some of them just make zero sense, and it's like,
right.
how is that written for that person when it fits this person so perfectly?
Yeah, and like even like a great example is like the song Jason Isbell's "Cover Me Up." Like Morgan Wallen, his version's even bigger than Jason's version, you know. And so
Yeah,
in Jason, it's, you know what I mean. So like that's a song that's like people think, oh, this is Morgan Wallen's song, and I'm like, well, it's actually Jason Isbell's song, but like they actually have their own versions of it. And they're both,
they're
um,
so many of them are so melodically and intellectually different too, even though they're saying the same words or even it's the
mhm.
same beat. So many people just have such a unique take on things or hear words broken up differently or a beat differently. And you see that thing with things like Forever, where you hear the same beat, four people rap over it, all of them are completely different.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good example. I mean, I would always use the example of Nine Inch Nails' "Hurt," Johnny Cash singing
Yeah.
"Hurt." Like when you hear him sing "Hurt," you're like, damn. Like this is like it's like an old man singing. Like
Yeah.
I hurt myself today. I mean, wow, I just hearing Johnny Cash sing that at his age too, and I was just like, wow, like what have I become? You know what I mean? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's just so like. that song hit even harder for me. Like I think I probably like that version better than the Nine Inch Nails version because it's so good.
Well,
So it's
th-
interesting.
that shit's always interesting. It's interesting to see different people's takes on things and hear their difference of opinion and how they see things and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Which is why it's so interesting to put yourself out there and kind of just have those conversations that most people are afraid to have.
absolutely. I probably got time for a little bit. You have any other questions before I go?
Yeah, I had more kind of lighthearted stuff because I felt
Yeah,
like that was easier.
throw something at me before I go.
Do you want to go when you took such a large break from music? What caused the change in the tempo and stuff? We kind of touched on that, but that's kind of more direct. Or craziest tour story?
Craziest horror story?
Tour story.
Oh, tour story. Okay, I thought you
Yeah.
said horror story.
No, nah. It's not
I'm like,
Halloween.
yeah. Damn. Well, I mean, I can just quickly say that, like, yeah, we basically were signed to 2 record deals that even our second record deal, like it just was not suiting us. It wasn't favored in our favor, and like we just needed to get out of it. And we were just so sick of playing the game that wasn't playing nice to us. And I was just sick of playing that game, and I just needed to take a step back and recalibrate what was important to me, and finding a new way to have autonomy in what I wanted to do for
Yeah.
myself and my music and stuff. And so during those 3 or 4 years that we weren't doing the band, I was writing songs and making records every single day, just not for the band, but it was a good time away to like remember and I was just working some creative stuff out myself anyways of other things I wanted to do for a while, and then slowly came back to it and it feels like it was all meant to be now. But craziest tour story, man, I don't even know. I mean, we've had a million, like, almost died on the. I remember one time I'll tell you, this is a quick one, but
Yeah.
we were somewhere on tour. We were on tour with Avenged Sevenfold, and we were in the van. We had a van and trailer at the time. We were somewhere in Pennsylvania, and it started snowing. We're like in the mountains or whatever, and we're on the turnpike, and we're just going up and down, and all of a sudden, like, we're at the top of a mountain, and like we get over the crest of the hill, and everyone's, all the cars are moving,
Yep.
just going just fine or whatever. And uh we crest the hill, and I'm driving, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, it's black ice. And like all of a sudden in front of me on this mountain, like I mean a mountain
Yeah.
down, all the brake lights are turning red, like they're all stopping. And I'm like, dude, I
Don't fucking
cannot
stop.
stop them. I was like, guys, everyone's sleeping in the van. Like the van, people sleep across the bench, no
Yeah.
seatbelt. Like when you're sleeping, you have your sleeping bag, you're laid across an entire bench to yourself. You're passed out. This was like at 6 a.m. or something. I woke up to finish the drive, and I'm driving. I was like, guys, get up, and they're like, what? I'm like, we're about to crash off the mountain, and they're like, what? I'm like, I cannot stop the van. Like we're just slowly sliding. We're probably still going 40 miles an hour, but I can see like half a mile in front of us. Everyone is stopped dead. I'm like, we're basically just gonna either ram the. And I was trying to think of like, am I gonna go in the ditch? Am I gonna go? But the ditch is like a mountain, so no. Or am I just gonna slam into a car? And like, I grew up on a farm, and my dad, and like I've driven things my entire life, and I'm doing like everything I can do to
Yeah.
like stop the brakes and everything. And finally, I started shifting down to first gear to like really slow the engine down.
Just
That
pull
really
the tranny. It doesn't matter. Just pull it down.
exactly. So I get us to first gear, but we're still moving pretty fast, and it's RPMs are up, and like I don't know what it was. It was like everyone's like trying to buckle their seatbelt and everything, and right at the last second, I like in the shoulder there must have been a little piece of gravel, and I just like caught a tiny piece of gravel, and like just slowly. I was like 10 feet from just slamming into a car, and all of a sudden we just come to this like stop, and I'm like, we all looked at each other. It's like that movie, that scene in Almost Famous. Like,
The
are we
fuck
alive?
just happened?
What the fuck just happened? And we just like we went on, and it was all fine. But it was like one of the closer ones to like us all dying in the van together, and that was just one of many times that probably happened. But that was a memorable one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I live at 2,500 feet above sea level, so I get that
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. Snow, ice, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not fun. Northeast is fucking horrible.
Yeah, I'm from Minnesota, so I get it. And but sometimes when you're not even in your own, where we're, what I mean, we're from Minnesota, but we never, you know, we're just in the middle of wherever we are. We're just following a GPS, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, we're on top of a mountain. Oh shit, it's snowing. Oh
Why the
shit.
fuck it bring us this way?
Yeah, we're like going down a hill. Okay, here we go. You know, so that's kind of how that is. Everyone always asks me like, you know, what's your favorite tour story? I gotta think of. I have so many, and like when I'll sit down with Dan and Matt and whatever, we'll tell stories, and I'm like, oh my god, I do remember that. I gotta. Maybe next time I'll think of some more and let you know.
Yeah, man. I think those genuine times where you're like, ah, fuck, I fucked this up, or ah, damn, that shit's cool. It's always
Yeah.
that cool kind of dichotomy of what the fuck was I thinking, or
Right.
personal stories are such a way for people to grow as people, or hearing other people's stories and be like, okay, that's how I can grow from this interaction or this thing that I'm
Right.
consuming. It's such a unique way, and I think podcasts like this where we're all just hanging out, it's like drinking a beer with your buddies. It's not complicated.
Exactly.
It's not hard. It's just
Yep.
sitting down and hanging out.
Just a conversation. Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on here, man. I really do, and thanks for all the support of the band and everything.
Absolutely, man. I know I'm not from PA, but I would love it if you guys came up to upstate New York. And if you guys do, definitely let me know, because I will be there.
Yeah, we're
Come hang
definitely
out.
doing some more shows this summer. I'm just about to announce some more. We'll see all the locations, but there's gonna be a lot. So
Yeah. I'll definitely keep an eye out. And if you see anything around Albany, let me know, and I'll be there.
hell yeah, man.
Come hang out. Thank you, Jake, for coming on. Make sure to go check out New Medicine on Twitter and all of socials and all of that stuff. Check out all of his new music. And make sure to check out Gfuel. Use code RMTS at checkout. I didn't want to bore the show with a whole bunch of ads and all that stuff. Make sure to use RMTS pod at swiftyhemco.com. And we'll see you fucking next time, boys.